Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fun summer. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, just depending on where you are. Thank you again for joining us as we explore real estate markets all over the world. If you are like me, you fall in love every single time you go on a trip, and the thought passes your mind, could I live here? And most recently, could I work here? And logistically, the answer is yes. You can live and work anywhere. And our mission is to educate you on those real estate possibilities outside of your own city and perhaps, as in the case today, outside of your own country. So demand is changing as cities have come out of lockdown. We've seen an increase in people really kind of contemplating, thinking about relocating and considering what city they may see themselves in kind of in the future. We're seeing a lot of built up demand that is being released. But this trend, this second home trend, it's heightened a little bit over the past year, but it's not new. The lure of a getaway home, the lure of maybe like a downtown urban crash pad or a rural retreat or even waterfront respite has really led to more than 1 in 10 of us owning a second home. And while this was once considered something for the ultra rich, maybe like a luxury, now about 9.26 Americans, and I don't have the tally on you Canadians, but if one of you Canadian friends wants to send it to me, I would love to have it. But they own second homes, and it's really a cross section of socioeconomics. Really, it is not for the rich anymore. Really, this past kind of year has altered our view on possibilities in our lives, and substantially it is showing up as an increase in second home ownership. In fact, a 23% increase in the last 18 months. That's huge. But there's a lot to consider before making a purchase. So today we want to look at some of those things. We're going to talk about pricing, mortgage options, if that comes into play. We're going to talk about costs, taxes or no taxes, and how to monetize that purchase when you're not using it. And just as an overall perspective of possibilities, know that we're going to do this by highlighting property offerings of Keller Williams offices, of which we have 850, over 850 now in the US. In our global regions are 51 and growing. So for today, I want you to imagine an oasis, miles of desert as far as you could see. Think of the world's tallest building and a man-made island shaped kind of like a palm tree, I think. And that is right. We are talking about Dubai, situated on the Persian Gulf coast of United Arab Emirates. Dubai is more than police who drive Ferraris and Lamborghinis or ATMs that dispense gold. Although that is all super cool, I'm sure you would agree. But Dubai is much more than that. It is the fourth most visited city in the world. I was surprised to hear that. I've been there, so I understand the allure. But it is rich in culture, in history. It has gorgeous beaches, phenomenal cuisine, and truly some of the most modern architecture I've ever personally seen. So today we are so fortunate to have a trailblazer in every sense of the word in Dubai in world real estate as our guest, also known as the social millionaire for her expertise in social media coaching, in content, and business attraction. Please welcome global realtor Lucy J. Parker.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeanette.
You are welcome. It's so good to see your face. But I'm used to seeing your face on social media because you are such a force, such a presence there. But today I'm grateful to actually get a chance to speak with you. So thank you for giving us so much of your time, because I know this is a busy week. You launched quite a big project. Why don't you take just a minute to inform everyone about it and see if you've got some viewers that might take some interest.
Well, goodness, we have had two exciting launches this week, Jeanette. So the first one here in downtown Dubai is actually a new downtown Dubai. So you have to imagine, those watching here have to imagine that 15 years ago, Dubai was, as you say, an oasis, really. It was a desert. There was nothing here. And, for us in US, Canada, or Europe, we can't comprehend a city that just came out of nowhere. But that's exactly what has happened here for Dubai. So we have downtown Dubai, where you rightly said the tallest tower in the world, Burj Khalifa. And now, can you believe it? We are creating another downtown Dubai that is double the size. And that is called Dubai Creek Harbour. And get this, just to be Dubai, and everything is always bigger and better, we are about to launch the new world's tallest tower, which will be the Dubai Creek Tower. It will be taller than the Burj Khalifa. And we're going to have the new, larger World Mall that will be double the size of the existing Dubai Mall, which is already the world's largest shopping mall. Can you imagine? So it's all coming to a brand new downtown called Dubai Creek Harbour. So our launch this week, which has been fabulous, is actually there are properties ready right now, even though it's going to be 20 years to be completely finished. We're talking a whole city. We've already got about 12 towers built, beautifully landscaped, incredible views out across the water and the like lots and lots of like marshland area. And if people want to move in now, they only pay 20%. They get the keys and they have a 4-year payment plan once they're moved in. Or, of course, for savvy investors, those of you out there thinking right now, well, go and buy one and put it on the short term market, put it on the rental market, and you've only paid 20% for it. So this is going crazy. And Jeanette, the reason, quite frankly, is that people don't want old property anymore because properties that were built 15 years ago in Dubai are now considered old. They're not in our part of the world, but they are here because we're living in extreme heat. You have to imagine today our temperature is 47 degrees Celsius. That must be about 118 degrees Fahrenheit, right?
I've
So,
been there during the summer and it is a bit hard to breathe. At
yeah,
times.
yeah,
I mean, truly, it's warm,
yeah,
but there's so much excitement and beauty all around you that
exactly.
you don't even think about it.
We do.
Truly.
And
I
we
know
have
that
it
at least that
free
was my
everywhere.
experience.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I know that in addition, you want something personally, and as my friend, I want everyone to know about it and really to get to know you a little bit better too.
Sure,
Tell us a
sure.
little bit about your background because you are I mean, you are a living example of relocating to another city, another country. So tell us a little bit about that and also what just makes you such a valuable asset to the Dubai real estate scene.
Okay, so I've been in the real estate industry for 16 and a half years. I'm from the UK, so you've obviously, you can all hear my British accent. And basically, 85% of those living here in Dubai are actually foreign, like myself. We're expatriates. So yeah, I worked first of all in the south of France. Then I sold real estate in the Sultanate of Oman, which is the country next door to the United Arab Emirates. Then I did a little bit of a stint in the French Alps, selling these beautiful ski chalets that, like 7 floors underground with underground nightclubs, underground swimming pools, turntables with, Bentleys, Mercedes, just how the other half lived, Jeanette, was phenomenal. And then I came to Dubai and I've been here 8 years. And basically the way I started in real estate in Dubai was very much what you described at the beginning, that famous man-made island that you can all see from space, the Palm Jumeirah. And I decided that's where I wanted to live, that's where I was going to sell, and I made a plan and I did it. And yeah, basically started selling villas, plots of land to build villas and apartments on the Palm Jumeirah. And then since then, I've been selling residential, not just on the Palm, but all over Dubai. And in fact, our market has changed because we have two markets and we probably use different vocabulary to use. So I'll just explain so that later on when I'm talking, you all understand what I'm saying. We call it the off plan market and the resale market. So the off plan is under construction. And the resale is what you all call your normal market, your secondary market, your private owners, your private sellers. Okay. So we call it resale and off plan. And so what I was wanting to explain was that the off plan market has taken over in the last 5 years, so that most people now are looking at buying brand new properties and they're not even ready when they purchase, imagine. Um, and I don't know, so if you want me to get into this right now, but predominantly it's because if you're a foreigner coming in to buy a property in Dubai, you're a non-resident. So how do you get a bank loan? So the answer is what the developers put together. They put together a payment plan on an off-plan property so that you just pay month by year. So you don't need to go to the banks. You don't need to get stressed about paperwork and documents. And it's a very, very smooth process. And that is what attracts so many foreigners. And it's a very easy process.
Yeah, I was doing some research and I was surprised. It did say seven times the number of foreigners to every local.
Oh, easily, if
It
not
that
more.
that's, that
If
I don't know where that sits relative to other countries, but I would think it's very high, very
Yeah,
very high. Basically,
it's yeah.
it's all expats, everywhere that you go from
I
all
mean,
over
it's
the
yeah. I was going to say it's the highest I've known, and just a little bit more about my background so people can perhaps, relate to me when I'm sort of giving out tips here. So I've actually lived on 4 continents. I used to be an international tour guide for 4 years, so I've traveled to over 75 countries. I was brought up in the South Pacific. I've lived Oman, France, Spain, Denmark, Costa Rica, Honduras, and here in the United Arab Emirates. So I've really experienced different cultures, different nationalities, and how we all think, live, and breathe. And so, when I'm dealing with my international clientele, I can really relate to them. It's not like I'm just looking through the eyes of a Brit or the eyes of, someone from Europe. So I
Well,
think
that's
that's
why
really
you are the
important.
expert. You are the one. So we are going to get into some Q&A, and thank you so
Okay.
much for the information on funding and financing, because obviously that's one of the first questions.
Yes.
But we're going to do a little bit of Q&A, and for our audience out there at the end, we're going to share a nice selection, a broad array of properties in
Mhm.
Dubai, from townhomes to short-term rentals to apartments and the wonderful villas.
Yeah.
So before we get started, audience, I have my request of you a favor. Please tag anyone you think might have interest in this subject so that they can join us too. This will live on Facebook, on our Spinelli Residential Group page, and it'll also be on our YouTube channel, so people can view it at any time. We have people viewing series episodes from over a year ago, in sales
Fabulous.
resulting from those. So this really is like a library database of resources of these countries and areas all over. So please go ahead and tag people, and also be ready at the very end. We're going to put up Lucy's contact information. Again, you can already tell she set the stage. She is the girl, the resource for you, for not just Dubai, but many parts of the world. So this is an
Mhm.
important contact for you. Um, so let's go ahead and get started. One of the points that I wanted you to share with the audience, again, you've walked the walk, you made the move, you decided to relocate, live and work in Dubai. And one of the things you said, which just spoke to me, is you made this decision, you put together the plan, and you did it. And that's why I love you so much. But tell us a little bit about that decision. And maybe not so much from a work perspective, because you moved here from real estate to sell real estate, but just moving to Dubai. What attracted you to that country, to that part of the world?
Oh goodness, so the thing is, the audience will have to probably get into my mind here. But do you remember I introduced that I've been brought up in the South Pacific until I was 8 years of age? So my memories are basically living in the tropics on a beach in the sunshine. inbred in me. That's who I am. So, living in the UK in the rain and the grey is really not going to fit me and what I'm used to. So I've always had that passion for travel, Jeanette, very much so. And, because we've been fortunate as a family to travel so much, we lived in Denmark as well. So me and my sister went to boarding school in England and we flew on our own at ages 10 and 12 to our parents in Denmark. So, we've been very independent from very early on. And I think that sets the stage for when you're asking me, you just upped and moved to a whole new region in the world. That was something that was quite normal for us, quite frankly. The other thing as well is that I've always wanted to live in France and buy a property in France. That was my dream. It still is. And so when I was working as a travel guide, a tour guide, and I was taking people on extreme adventure holidays, diving, snowboarding, skiing all over the world, cruises, trekking. It was a fabulous 4 years of my life, but it didn't really pay. So I thought, well, how can I have fun, meet new people, learn about real estate, and get paid a bit more? And I was like, real estate is the industry I need to go into. So I thought, I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll move to the south of France. So I moved my whole life on my own, didn't know anyone. I speak French and Spanish fluent, so that helped. And I moved on the border, Perpignan, in the southwest of France. So that's just north of Barcelona. And I worked basically showing people around properties. And ultimately, I was also looking, I was interested. So I think it comes from something personal. And I thought, well, I'm not going to understand how to buy a property unless I learn it through doing it for others. And I've actually met a lot of realtors that have done the same thing. I mean, I'm not sure if that was your path, Jeanette, but we want to learn it. So what best way to do it is to get involved in it ourselves. And then when I was in France, it was quite personal, the reason I chose, but I'd met someone in the Gulf on one of my tours, and I'll tell you why I chose the Gulf. This is what your audience would love to relate to. So I had traveled to every continent in the world and I'd taken trips, but I'd never been to the Gulf. And I'm an adventurer, like adventure type, and I always love the unknown, and I'm very curious. And I said to myself, look, what do we hear about the Gulf in the news? Okay, I want to go and change my opinion of that. I want to go and see for myself because we all know we believe about 3% of what we watch on the news and the media, right? So I decided to lead a tour to Oman. And it was in Oman that I then met somebody, and I was like, do you know what? I could work in Oman. It's an amazing place. It's the safest country in the world, Jeanette, Oman, and now Dubai with the UAE. I have never felt so safe as a woman. I'm blonde. I can wear whatever I want. I can go out day and night. I even leave my front door unlocked. Nobody ever comes in. You can be in a coffee shop in Starbucks and you can leave your wallet and go up to the till and get another coffee, and you'll come back to your table and your wallet will still be there. Now, where else in the world would that be? Certainly not in England, where I'm from, definitely not in the US, and definitely not anywhere else in the world. So it's a very safe country. So once I moved to Oman, I literally fell in love with the country. The people are so genuine, they're so kind. As a woman on your own, if you break down, and I've had that happen, I've had a flat tire on the road, the cars will stop and then the guys will all get out and they'll shoo you away from the car. And in England, if that happened, you'd be worried what was going to happen to you, right? You wouldn't want to open the door to anyone stopping on the side of the road for you. Well, in Oman, oh my goodness, it's completely different. They're like, please, it's not for you to do the tire. We'll change it. Here's some water, making sure you're okay. You've got water. It's just a different lifestyle, and quite frankly, the media does not portray it at all, and it hugely upsets me because it's such a different experience when you're actually here. Um, and I'm sure you probably got a million questions, so feel free to ask them to me. But after living in Oman for 7 years, meeting the best friends in the world, I think the other thing I would say is that when people have moved to the Gulf or moved overseas, you are already amongst your own type of people because they've already taken that giant leap. They're already taking a bit more risk in their life. They're already open to opportunity. They're already curious and they're already open to other cultures. So actually, I've met my closest friends in life in this region. And I've been in the region 15 years. That's a third of my life.
Yeah, I think you do create your own family when you,
Yeah.
because you don't have a choice. And I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought up kind of debunking the myth of what it's like in the Gulf, because that was my experience. I traveled there with just one other friend, lady, on our way to Africa, and we were out day and night. And truly, in these stores, all of these high-end goods would just be out, but nobody dared do anything. I mean, the rules are strict there.
It's strict. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so people know, and I felt completely safe. So thank you for bringing that up, because I think that is in people's minds.
Yeah.
Um, you
Can
know,
I,
so
Jeanette, sorry, can I
yes,
add one more thing to relate to
sure.
what you said? Because that's a really powerful statement. You said the rules are strict, and I'll explain to everybody because you probably won't be able to relate to this, right? So imagine to live in Dubai, you have to have a residency visa. Okay, so there are nationalities here from all over the world, and let's just say, without naming countries, there are some countries that this is like the land of gold and opportunity. You know, we are at the middle of, you've got all of Africa below us, you've got Asia, you've got like all the stans like Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, you know, countries you've probably never even heard of, right? And all of these countries, Dubai is such an opportunity that the minute people get here and they get a job and they get the visa, they are not going to risk that for anything because they have improved the quality not only of their lives but also of their families' lives, and a lot of them are sending money home. So nobody is going to step out of line because it's just not worth it.
Right. I think even if you bounce a check, you
Yeah.
are out. You are out. So
It's not, well, it's not as harsh with bouncing a check anymore. Things changed in the last 1 year. In fact, rules changed here in the last 1 year. So before, like a year ago, you were not allowed to live with a partner if you were not married. It was illegal. Now you can cohabit. Okay, so rules are definitely relaxing because Dubai understands that they want to welcome the world. We are a tolerant country and we are open to all peoples and nationalities. So it's becoming easier and easier to live here and to attract in all sorts of different types of people. Yeah.
So Lucy, set us straight on taxes, because, one of the things that people consider when they're considering a second home
Yeah.
is finances of it. So, can they lease out the property? How can they monetize it? And
Mhm.
what is the carry cost there? So explain to us how personal or income taxes work in Dubai.
I'm not quite sure what you meant by the carry cost.
Well,
What's that?
you're going to own a property, the costs that are related to that,
The
in the US,
operating costs. Yeah.
well, not just the operating, but in the US, you have property tax, every
Right.
month there's a tax for holding that property. So that
Right.
becomes a part of your overall balance sheet. What does that look like in Dubai?
Right. Well, is everybody sitting comfortably? Because you're all about to smile. There is no tax.
Right.
Okay. So now look, I am not a qualified tax advisor and I'm not here to be able to represent and speak about taxes. So for everyone watching, please understand that. Look, in Dubai, when you buy a property, you don't pay any tax here. You pay a stamp duty when you buy a property, and that is always 4% of the purchase price. That is no matter what, whether it's an off plan or a resale property, it's 4%. And we call that the DLD fee, which means Dubai Land Department fee. Okay, so that, if you like, could be seen as a tax. It's a stamp duty. The only
That's a
other,
one time, right?
yeah,
Just a
that's the
one
one
time fee.
time
Yeah.
when you purchase, but every single time. So if you were to purchase and then sell, and then the next buyer buys it, they have to pay it. So, one property may have charged 10 times a stamp duty as it's been resold and resold. Okay, so then the only other fee is that when you pay an agency fee, and in Dubai, the buyer pays the buyer fee of 2%. Okay, so it's the buyer fee here in this part of the world. So there is a 5% VAT on a fee, on a service, because we are the service, we're the advisor. Okay, so they pay 2% of the purchase price to the agency as the fee, plus 5% VAT on that fee. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no other tax. So what I will say to your viewers watching is that where you're from in your country, you would then have to get your own tax advice as to what I do know, for example, is Americans pay tax on any property they own anywhere in the world. I do know that. But in terms of how much and how it's done, you would have to go back to your
Yeah.
local tax
That's
advisor.
specific to them, but then there's not an additional
No,
ongoing fee. It's
there's
like a point
nothing.
of purchase. A point
Yeah,
of purchase fee is pretty
yeah,
simple. Well, that's good. Yes, I
yeah,
did read that, but I think you would know, you would set it straight. So I wanted to make sure
yeah,
that I was reading everything correctly, because that is pretty surprising and unique, I think. Tell us a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit about how the market has changed. You know, it's a relatively new, well, it's a very new city,
yeah,
15 years.
yeah.
But I mean, the immediate market. What have you seen in the last 12 months?
My goodness. It has been a market, as we all experience, of turmoil, right? So, first of all, just to rewind a bit, so Dubai was only closed for 6 weeks in COVID. So I think we were closed the least out of anywhere in the world. And that was basically the end of March and all of April. Okay. So then we opened up in May. I think we were the first country to open back up. And we were spraying streets in week one when everyone else was locking down and closing up. Dubai already had the drones out spraying the streets and sterilizing, so we were really fast. We have so many hospitals that we didn't only not run out of beds, we had more than enough ventilators and more. We never ran out of any supplies or any medication or anything at all. Okay, so that's been very, very attractive as well. And then, we've been going, but then, of course, what's happened is Dubai is very much a hub. We're at the center of the world. If you look at the world map, we're very much right in the middle. Europe's above us. The US and Canada is to our west. We've got Asia to our east, and we've got Africa below us. So we're literally in the middle. Okay. So because we're a hub, all the other countries' airports were closed, right? And all the other countries were stopped from flying. So of course that's affected us hugely. So quite frankly, from June all the way through till August, September, it was pretty tough. It was pretty quiet, and owners were stressing. They were lowering their prices. People had no, appetite to buy. People were just trying to work out what was going on with this pandemic. Okay, and then what happened was we started to see a shift. And come November, people started to say, right, I want to move. I don't want to be stuck any longer homeschooling or on top of the family in a small apartment. I want space. I want a balcony. I want a garden. I want a home office. And so we saw this shift where everybody was looking for, we call a townhouse or a villa. Okay, you call them independent homes. Okay, so November was really the start of our market beginning. And now looking back, I can say to you, and we all know that real estate is roughly a 5 to 7 year cycle. I can say to you that November was the bottom for us. And since November, my goodness, has the market gone crazy. So there has been a huge demand in villas and townhouses, whether it's to purchase or for sale. I mean, prices have gone up by 30%. It's incredible. Okay. And then the apartments took a little bit longer, but then what happened is very interesting. Countries were starting to open up their doors around the world, and we've seen a new era. We've seen the remote workers, we've seen the digital nomads, we've seen the people that are fleeing their countries because they're so unimpressed with their medical facilities and they're so impressed with Dubai's. And so people are moving here and they want the one bedrooms and they want the two bedrooms. And of course, some of them may not want to settle here. They may just want to be here temporarily for a couple of months. So then, guess what? That started the short-term rentals back again. And then some of those triggered into the long-term rental because now they realize, well, they're not going back and they're staying here. And then we closed anyway to a lot of European countries, so people couldn't physically go back. And then what we've had, and this is very recent, Jeanette, in the last 2 months, your audience may or may not be aware that India has had, serious issues recently, and they've shut down the airports. So we've had all these Indian clients, and by the way, Indians are our number one client in Dubai. They're our number one buyer, and they're our number one investor, and our number one seller. Okay, so when India closed down, that's affected us hugely. So suddenly, all of these very, very, shall we say, a lot of Indian families have tried their hardest to quickly flee India and move with their families and settle here because they don't want to be stuck in a pandemic there because the situation has been quite dire, as you know. And so we're literally not able to keep up with the amount of demand. And I will be so bold as to say to you all, and this has happened in Dubai in the past, but when we launch projects here of 300 villas, we sell out in under 30 minutes. I'm not joking. Okay. So one thing, Jeanette, I was going to say about this going onto YouTube and, people coming into this in a year from now, if you're watching this a year from now, the chances are, well, it's for sure that the properties I'm talking about today will already have sold out. But at least you understand that if you're really serious and you're committed and you have a word with me and you know what you want, I can direct you to what you need right now.
Yes, quick, quick.
Yeah.
It's a fast moving market. And the geography that you mentioned, that's really why I ended up spending time in Dubai because instead of, and I encourage, any of the audience to think about this. When you are taking a long flight from the US to Asia or Africa, as I was so lucky to be able to do, instead of just changing planes, just get off the plane.
Yeah.
Spend a week, 4 or 5 days, whatever you can, exploring that connection and then go on. I try to do that all the time. At least I have to say you're one of the few people that I know that has me beat. I've only been to 72 countries. So I'm coming.
Wow.
I'm coming for you. I want to get to your number too. Let's switch over to properties because you have some beautiful, beautiful things for us to see. And I appreciate that you have a variety of things for us to see. So we're going to get this on and you tell us what we are looking at.
Yeah, so look, we've got some pictures here. These are apartments. If you look at that fabulous view down there in the top left, the bottom corner. So this is in downtown Dubai. This is downtown as we know it today. This is not the new downtown I was talking about. And we have apartments here, and we sell studios, one beds, two beds. And people love this particular view that you can see of the water. And in the very left, you can see the beginning of Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest tower. And we call that a fountain view or a Burj Khalifa view. Everybody wants the Burj Khalifa view. So it's about views. So the minute you have a view, you double your price almost. It's crazy. And then you've also got the luxury apartments in the top right corner. And these are actually furnished. So we even sell hotel serviced apartments or fully furnished apartments. So there really is something for everyone, Jeanette. And it's about when somebody approaches me and messages me and says, this is what I'm looking for, Lucy, I will always have a solution. And to give you an idea here, as we've written here, a 2 bedroom, it can range from anything. Well, 580, those have now sold out because that's how quick things move here in Dubai.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that was yesterday. But you would be looking at a 2 bed from just over 1 million dirham. And a million dirham is approximately 270,000 US dollars. Okay. So, and one thing your viewers should definitely be aware of is once you purchase a property over a million dirham, you then can get a residency visa. And it's ongoing pretty much for life. It's renewable every couple of years. And by the way, that's only going to extend more and more as Dubai opens up more and more. Dubai wants to welcome more people to live and work here. So they're on your side. So they'll do everything to keep you here. And I mean, they've done well with me.
In this studio and this luxury apartment that we're looking at, I mean, they're very attractive. So I think another myth that we can dispel is that you don't have to be a billionaire to to live in Dubai or
No,
have a stable of
no.
Ferraris and Lamborghinis. You really, it is for the average consumer.
Oh,
There is
yeah,
something for the average consumer. Okay, what
yeah.
do we have after? Let's see. Here we go.
So then we come on to villas. And now, in this part of the world, people do use the term villa when it's actually connected. So you'll see the top left, they'll call that a villa, but between you and me, I would call that a townhouse, right?
Right,
So you
right.
just need to be familiar with, hopefully you'll be dealing with me, but if you're not dealing with me and you're dealing with another agent, agents will call everything a villa because they feel it sounds better for less money. But you need to be very, very clear with whoever you're dealing with that it is a townhouse or a separate detached villa, okay? And then the bottom villa, of course, these are highly in demand, our contemporary villa. You know the type, you see them all over the world, lots of glass, chrome, beautiful marble, and infinity swimming pools in the gardens. And these villas, we've actually got, in fact, this morning I was stuck in a sandstorm, Jeanette, but I went out to a new development. Again, this is going to be sold out in 10 days, where we're going to have villas just like this photo, starting from approximately 3 million dirham, which is about $750,000 only, right? Imagine for something looking like that. And the beauty is people don't pay for it all now. It's on a payment plan. It's not ready now. It's ready in 3 years. And you just pay 10%. And you can do it on a credit card or a bank transfer. So you don't need to get on a plane. I've sold to people with a credit card only.
Yes, but I encourage people to get on a plane because you have to see Dubai. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
well, yes.
It's amazing, but you can't. It is an option.
Yeah,
Purchasing your home on your credit card, I love it.
yeah.
Okay, what do we have after this? Let's see.
So
Oh yeah,
then,
short-term
yeah,
rentals.
yeah.
I think this is very important for people to understand because Dubai isn't a 2 hour plane ride from the US. It's a little bit of a jaunt. Probably you're not going to go for a week or a weekend. So
Mhm.
how can you make use of it when you're not there?
So basically, what you can do is you can buy apartments and put them on the short-term rental market. And genuinely, what you do is you would appoint somebody to manage your property, and their fees are anything from 15 to 20%, their management fees. So if you're looking to enter in the short-term market, and I know you'll have very experienced people watching, and you'll have people that have never done it before, you need to now think as if you are a hotel operator. You're no longer owning a property, you're owning a hotel room. So you need to think about where would you buy a property that's going to attract visitors and tourists. So tourists are not going to sit in the middle of the desert with no roads and connections and nothing to see. So I always say to my clients when they say, Lucy, I want an investment, I want a short-term rental, you basically want the beach, you want downtown Dubai or the new downtown, or you want like out on the Palm Jumeirah. You want something where tourists are going to want to stay and be and attract, right? Because if your occupancy rate is not high, your property is sitting empty and then there is no return for you. And that's a waste of your money. So just be very aware of location. The other thing is amenities. You like every building in Dubai has a gym and a swimming pool, every single one. When I first landed here, I thought that was really special. And then I was like, oh, every building has it. So you don't need to worry. Everyone has a gym and a pool. But you want to check out the facilities and you want to make sure they're not just normal, that they're amazing, because that's going to attract in and increase your occupancy rate, right? And then the other thing as well, again, when you're purchasing, and hopefully if they're purchasing through me, then I obviously clarify this. There are some buildings that you are not permitted to short-term rent your property through. So because you're in competition with the developer that may also have a tower that they're putting on themselves, in which, and some people have done that. They've bought, they didn't know anything different, and then they're told, nope, it's illegal to put your property on short-term here, and they're not allowed to. And there's security guards in every building. It's also very safe. There's a 24-hour security. There's security guards. There's cameras. So you literally wouldn't be allowed in, like you wouldn't be allowed to enter your guests in. It's not like I've been to New York, by the way, and I know actually short-term rent is officially illegal in New York, right? But there's more short-term rentals in New York than anywhere in the world. So I've actually done an Airbnb in New York, and there was no security on the building. It was right by Central Park, and but my owners had said, just tiptoe up, don't tell anyone that you're on a short term. You couldn't do that in Dubai. You couldn't get away with that. So people have to understand it's strict here, but it's good. It's good as a
Mhm.
result. That's the difference.
Yes, yeah, if there's a purpose in it, and it
Yeah,
does retain your value. And I
absolutely.
believe as a resident or an investor, you want that integrity. So we
Yeah,
have similar
yeah,
situations here in Austin, and I know from living in a high rise, like, I didn't want short-term renters, but I purchased in that building for a reason, and that was part of it. But if I wanted to short-term rent, I would have purchased in another building. So the point is, there's opportunity, no matter how you slice it, and
absolutely.
whatever you want, there's opportunity for you. Okay, and then lastly, we have what you and I agree, called townhomes because they're connected.
Yes.
Tell us about these.
Right. So actually, this is probably our hottest property of the month, the week, the year. Everybody wants this. So if you have an opportunity right now, which you do, because I'm going to come up with it, I'm going to show you my latest offer. If you have an opportunity for townhouses, you do not want to run away quick because these we are in short supply. You see, when Dubai was built 15 years ago, it was built with many, many towers and skyscrapers of apartments, penthouses, apartments, penthouses. They forgot the villas, right? Because they assumed, well, they just didn't build as many. So we're in a huge shortage of family townhouses. And especially because of the lockdown, everybody wants more space. They want a garden. Everybody's moving to townhouses. So, for example, if you find like here is a price starts at 1 million dirham, and that's about at least half an hour's drive. You're really looking now at townhouses, no less if you're lucky than about 1.7, 1.8 million. So almost double that price now. Just imagine, yeah, they're really in demand. And again, the project I was on this morning, there is a launch right now happening. The release is in about 7 to 10 days, Jeanette. People can already give a check. We call it expression of interest. So it's not cashed. And they can put their name in, ready for the release. And they're going to be releasing 350 townhomes in this brand new community. It's on my Facebook. There's a video. I was there earlier today. I've got a YouTube video. There's a beautiful crystal lagoon with a beach. It's all free for residents. Beautiful greenery, shopping, supermarkets. One of the top schools from the UK is already in and opening this September for registration. So for families, everything is there. Um, and the beauty is you pay on a payment plan. So again, these properties, I mean, the launch won't be ready for 3 years. So, but you're buying a property and you're only paying 10% now. You have a 50% between now and handover on the next 3 years. And then at handover, you get the key. And then you have another 2 years to pay the remaining 40%. So it's very slow and easy on the cash flow.
Well, I can see a lot of people writing their checks out right now. They're gonna they're gonna FedEx or DHL them to you.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think you dispelled a lot of myths here, and the one that you just dispelled with these properties is the cost, because I think it's very affordable, particularly relative to a lot of the larger European cities, certainly.
Yes,
Very
yes.
affordable and a nice array of choices. And I think that's important because everybody has, different needs, as you know. Um, and I
One
think,
one thing I will say, okay, is that you've got to understand that a lot of people's work habits have changed, right? So we don't need to be going to an office. So, any commute in Dubai is approximately 20 to 25 minutes maximum in a car. It's really not very far, okay? And we're talking into downtown Dubai. So from these communities. And the other thing that we've done really well now in the last couple of years is our communities are very green. They're landscape. There's football courts, there's basketball courts, there's wave pools for the kids, there's gyms, supermarkets. Everything is in the community. So it's really like, you don't have to necessarily go out of the community every single day. There's even coffee shops there where you can go and do business and have business meetings. So we've changed and it's become much more about affordable communities now.
Well, in developments like the Palm, I mean, that's really a destination. I
Oh,
mean, even if
yes.
you're staying at a hotel someplace in Dubai, you still go there. It's something you have to see to believe.
Oh, yeah.
Really. There's one thing about building a city out of the desert, which is kind of similar to Las Vegas, although Las Vegas is not Dubai by any stretch. But there's something else about building a city on top of a mass of water. And that really is what my impression was. It was remarkable to see. Now, one thing we did not discuss that I believe is a huge attractor in Dubai is that famous Gold and Diamond Mall. Now, I don't know why we don't have this here in the US, but ladies, it is not a mirage in the Arabian desert. There is a mall, and the only kind of stores in that mall are jewelry stores.
Yeah.
Seriously. One jewelry store after another jewelry store after another after. I mean, that's it. Only jewelry stores. It really was a dream come true for me. In fact, I got this ring here. So from there, it's
Jeanette,
just amazing. You really do. I cannot stress enough when you're booking this travel. Everybody's booking travel right now. I mean, everybody's just lost their
yes.
mind. Going and
Yep.
going. Um, Make that a connection. Fly to Dubai, and because you can get to anywhere in the world from Dubai. So fly there, have a little vacation, look around, contact Lucy. Maybe you want to make an investment, pick up something else besides a souvenir, pick up a property, an investment property that's going to be part of your financial future. And then go on to your final destination. It really is something to see and to experience. Because really, more practically speaking, Dubai has a world-class vision. It's a futuristic, forward-looking city while still maintaining its a delicate balance, still maintaining its traditions and its culture that I think is so beautiful. Over 200 different nationalities reside in Dubai. It's really intoxicating. And of course, the ability to have high salaries to make a great living with low taxes or low overhead, and then these costs for these properties, it certainly warrants a look. And yes, as you may have guessed, KW Keller Williams is right in the center of its thriving economy and its booming real estate landscape. And if this is of interest to you, you now know who to contact. Lucy. So let's put up Lucy's information. So guys, take a screenshot of that. We're going to leave it up long enough for you to jot it down, save it. You never know when these opportunities, just when you're thinking, oh, I'll probably never make it to Dubai, the opportunity will appear to you. That's the way life works. And you're going to want to know Lucy and her information. And remember, she's a global realtor. So even if it's not Dubai, she can help you or has a connection, as do all Keller Williams agents. So whoever you know, whoever you're working with in your own city, know that we are connected to offices throughout the US, throughout the world, on the other side of the world, as we see here today. And your trusted Keller Williams agent can connect you to an agent in an area that is of interest to you. So, okay, I think we got the information down, hopefully, everyone. So, thank you so very much, Lucy. Is there anything that you didn't get a chance to say for educating us on your part of the world that you'd like to close us out with?
Well, I would just also talk about the lifestyle here. I mean, we have the best shopping in the world. We have the best cuisine. I mean, there are not enough restaurants for me to work on for the rest of my life, eating 3 meals a day. We have every cuisine, vegans, meat eaters, Indian, Chinese, you name it. And we have fabulous beaches. amazing nightclubs, places to go party. Yes, we do drink alcohol, by the way, for those of you that think we may not. We very much do. We party hard. We even have ladies' nights on a Tuesday where all the alcohol is free for ladies. Imagine. We've got everybody booking now. And you know, we've got fabulous areas that we can travel to outside of Dubai. So we have other Emirates, we can go up into the mountains. There's the world's longest zip line, which I've done. You can take a little plane, you can take a helicopter. There really is something for everyone. There's boat trips, dolphin tours, scuba diving. I mean, yeah, there is nothing you can't do. Of course, we didn't even talk about the desert. That's where you started, Jeanette. But you can go into the desert, experience a Bedouin camp or in luxury, ride the camels until dark, and it's beautiful. It really is. Everyone should come and experience the Gulf.
Right, they truly should. I'm glad you mentioned the desert. I didn't do it in Dubai, but in Morocco, we did an overnight in the desert, and it really is probably one of my top three life
Yes.
experiences. So you can do that in Dubai. It's
Oh, we
remarkable.
can. You can do it, and
Remarkable.
you, yeah, yeah, any star. We really do have the top star hotels in the world. We have the Mandarin Oriental, the Four Seasons. You know, like we have our own brands here, which you probably wouldn't even heard of. But there, I mean, you've got the Burj Al Arab. You've got the famous seven-star hotel. We all know that hotel.
Where
Just
you get your
phenomenal.
butler. Where
And
you
you've
get
got
your
your own
butler.
butler. And let's not forget how everybody gets here, right, Jeanette? On the world's favorite airline, Emirates Airlines. If you're going to fly the world from somebody
Fantastic.
who's flown every airline, you want to fly Emirates. It's the best.
Yeah, they have a little bar in the back. And I thought,
Yes.
why not? Why not when you're it's just I could go it was a great experience. As I said, I've been to a lot of countries. I would go back and there's many, many, many more countries I need to get to. So for me to
Yeah.
put a country on a go back to list, that's saying something because you know, I've got to get busy. I've got to get my list. Every time I knock something down, I add something on. So it's never
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
But thank you so very much. You're
Not at
such a
all.
pleasure. Audience, my special request of you is that if you're enjoying this, share it. Tag your friends, tag your clients. You can put their information in the comments box once we're posted on Facebook, and they will get connected. They can see this at their leisure. You can find us on YouTube for past episodes internationally. And during COVID, we did focus on the U.S. and there was a lot of exciting things I discovered here in the U.S. So it's just again a place, a library of lots of information. So please, please, please like our Facebook page, Spinelli Residential Group, so that you can hear about our future broadcasts. In fact, you're going to love our next few months. I'm not going to give it away yet, but it may be Spain, it may be an island somewhere, maybe someone in the Western Hemisphere. I don't, you're just going to have to wait and see. It'll be a surprise. And if you have any requests, please connect with me and we'll see about getting that country on deck. So thank you again, Lucy. It was our pleasure to visit with you. Thank you so much for your generous time and good luck on your ventures. And you've got some exciting things coming up.
Thank
So
you
for
so much,
everyone
Jeanette.
else, you're welcome. You're welcome. So everyone else, until next time, take care from the beautiful city of Austin, Texas. This is Jeanette Spinelli with the Spinelli Residential Group, your Austin, Texas consultant. Go make it a powerful day. Stay healthy. And above all else, be kind. Bye.